Hey fashion lovers, welcome to Fun Fashion YouTube channel. In this video, I will show you how to make this playful smoked Ankara mini dress with multiple ruffle layers. This is perfect for casual outing, birthday party, or even church. Yes, you heard me right. I paired mine with bodycon top and wore it to church. Please do well to like this video, subscribe, and drop me nice comments. Let's get started. I have my Ankara fabric on the table here. I am going to be combining these two Ankara fabrics. This is 1 yard. And the green Ankara fabric is 1.5 yards, okay? You can use between 3 to 4 yards of Ankara fabric to make this dress. I'm going to be managing these 2.5 yards because that is what I have at home, all right? I'm going to be using this for the bodice, and then I'll combine the yellow fabric and the green fabric for the skirt, all right? I'll fold the Ankara fabric into 2, can you see, and then I'll fold again into 4. As you can notice, this part is on fold, right? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 because I'm going to be cutting the front and the back bodies together. So what I'm going to do now is to mark my shoulder to waistline. So this is my shoulder to waistline. You need to make sure that the bodice is up to the measurements that you want. I'm going to be taking my highest body circumference, and my hip is my highest body circumference. I will divide my hip measurement by 4, and then after marking my hip measurement, I will determine how wide I want my bodice to be. All right, you can add 4 inches to 8 inches on your body for the smocking. So I'm going to be adding just 4 inches to my own hip circumference. This is my shoulder to waistline. From my waistline, I'm going to be adding extra 3 inches because the dress is a low-waisted dress. So I'm going to be adding extra 3 inches. If you want yours to come down before the skirt, you can bring it down to 4 or 5 inches. All right. I want mine to be at 3 inches. So this is my waist measurement plus 3. I went on to add another 2 inches extra allowance to the length. This is optional and I wouldn't recommend it because for my own dress, the skirt ended up sitting a bit lower, almost at my hip line, which I didn't completely love. But if you want yours to look exactly like mine, feel free to add that extra 2 inches allowance. It all depends on the fit you prefer. So now I'm going to be marking my chest line measurement. My chest line is 7.5. So I'll mark down the chest line, 7.5. This is the chest line, right? So from my chest line, I'm going to come up by 1.5. So I'm going to mark 1.5. You can carefully create armhole for this, all right? So I'm going to be having a little armhole here. This is optional. So I'll go ahead now and cut. I'll get the lining piece that I want to use for my skirt. Remember that I added extra 3 inches to my waist length, okay? This is the extra 3 inches I added. That means my skirt is going to start from 19 inches. And I'm going to be taking off 19 inches from my tape as the bodice. Then I'll get my full length, the full length of my skirt. I have my full length as 35 inches. So I'm going to also mark down my hip circumference divided by 4, right? And then I'm going to add that 4 inches I added for the body. Or you can equally cut this lining piece in bias form, okay? If you want it to be in bias form, I'm going to be cutting mine in a straight form. So this is what I have. I'll cut it out. What I'm going to do next is to mark down where I'm going to be fixing the gathered layers on my skirt, right? So I'll measure what I have from here to the hemline and divide it by the number of layers I want for my skirt, okay? So I have 16 inches here and I want 4 layers for my skirt. So I'm going to divide 16 by 4, all right? So when I divide 16 by 4, I have 4. So what it simply means is that I'm going to be marking 4 inches. All right, I'll be fixing one layer here, and at 4 inches I'll fix another layer, another 4 inches I'll fix another layer, then I'll fix the last layer here, all right, to complete the length. So I'll have one at the waistline, the second one on the second line, the third layer on the third line, and the fourth layer here. Okay, so I'm going to be marking 4 inches on my skirt. So remember, this is the front and the back pieces. I'll also mark on the other side because I'm going to be joining the two sides together. I'll set that aside to cut down the layers. And I'll get my fabric. So this is the full length of the Ankara fabric. I'm going to be cutting from the full length of the Ankara fabric. Ankara fabric is usually 45 inches. So I'm going to be folding in from that 45 inches. For each layer of this skirt, I'm going to determine how much fullness I want, okay? So I'm going to be cutting 6 inches for each layer, right? I'm going to be cutting 3 pieces of this. You can cut 4 or 5 depending on how much fullness that you want. So for mine, I'm going to be cutting 3 pieces for each layer. So I have 1, 2, 3 for the first layer. So I'm going to cut for the second layer. I'll also cut this for the third layer and then cut again for the last layer. All right, I'll do that off camera and show you guys. So I have already cut out the pieces. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is the 6th one. I have already cut the green fabric into 6 pieces as well. I want to keep the skirt aside so that we can get the bodice first. I'll get the bodice and then flip to the right side. This is the right side, so that I can mark down where I'm going to be sharing. That is where I'm going to be doing my smoking. From this point, I'll mark down ½ inch. All right, I'll be marking ½ inch on my bodice. I'll mark down half inch line. You can mark down ½ inch or 1 inch lines depending on how much you want your smoking to be. The lines are where I'm going to be sewing on to form my smoking. I'll also mark my lines on the other part of the bodice. All right, I'm going to be hemming the top of these bodies. So for the elastic thread, I'll get my bobbin. This is the bobbin for an industrial machine, and this one is for manual machine. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is to locate the knot on my bobbin, something that looks like a knob. All right, I'll loosen it with the help of a screwdriver. I will unscrew the screw, all right, so that my bobbin can open up. So the best thing to do is to have one bobbin that you are using for this purpose. All right, don't use the same bobbin that you're using to run your normal running stitches for this. All right, you have to dedicate one bobbin just for this purpose. Then I'll get my elastic thread and start reeling on my bobbin. You have to reel this thread loose on your bobbin. You have to do this manually. Don't use your machine to reel this thread. I'll fix it into my bobbin case the same way that you fix your bobbin into the bobbin case. So can you see? The elastic thread is very loose inside my bobbin. Make sure that it is very loose inside your bobbin. All right. So I'll fix in my bobbin into my machine. As you can see, I have already hemmed the bodies. So now I'll start running the elastic thread on those lines that I marked. So if you get to the end, you flip it and start running on the next line, okay? As you can see, I am not dragging my fabric. I let it very loose. As you can see, it is already forming. I'm going to run all the lines off camera to avoid this video getting too long. I'll also run on the other part of the bodies, okay? So after running the elastic thread on the half inch marking that I marked, this is what it looks like. But I went ahead to run extra lines in between the half-inch lines, okay? Because I want it to drag in a little more. If you want yours this way, you can go ahead and take yours this way. But for mine, I want mine to be fitted on my body. So because of that, I went ahead to run more lines in between the half-inch, okay? I don't know if you can see the difference. This one is just on the half-inch lines, while this one I went ahead to run more lines in between the half-inch lines, okay, to have this. So if you bring them together, you notice that one is a bit wider than the other, okay. So the one on top is smaller because I had to run another line in between the half-inch lines, okay. So I'm going to go on and run more lines in between the other one, all right, so that I can have something tighter like this, okay. Then for the skirt, you know I have 3 pieces for each layer, okay. I'm going to join these 3 together to form one single layer, all right. And I'll also join these 3 together, and I'll join the green ankara too to form 2 layers, all right. I have joined the pieces together. I have 1 2 of this color, and then 1 2 of the green color, right. I also went ahead to hem one part of each piece. Can you see? I'm going to pleat the other side, so that is why I hemmed one part only. This is the skirt. I also went ahead to join the skirt piece by one side, okay. I joined one part of the skirt, all right. So this is what I have one long piece now. So what I'm going to do now is to measure the line. I'll leave out half-inch here and then measure. Also leave out half-inch. I have 54 and half, so I will leave out half-inch. That means I have 54, okay. So what I'm going to do now is to pleat each piece into 54 inches. You can pleat, you can also do gathers, okay. So I'm going to pleat mine into 54 inches. After making the pleats, this is what I have. Okay, this is the top and this is the hemline. Okay, I'll come to the first line at the hemline and pin the first layer. Okay, you can stitch this way. You can equally decide to place it this way, stitch and flip it to the other side. All right, so I'll pin. So I'll pin the last one this way. I'm not going to be flipping the last one. I'll pin it this way. So I'll go over to my sewing machine now and run straight stitch on each layer, okay. Remember that we are not stitching to the edge of the skirt. We are leaving out half-inch here, okay. So I'll go over to my sewing machine now and stitch on the layers. So after running thread on the layers, this is what I have. Can you see? So what I'm going to do is to trim off these parts, okay. You can decide to fold it in if you want. You can just fold it in, all right, but I'm going to be trimming it off. So I'm going to go ahead now and close it up. I'll also close up each layer, only the layers. So I'll come to the second layer and close up the second layer as well. Then on the third layer, I'll close up the third layer and the final layer. After closing up the layers, I'll also close up the lining piece, all right. I'll close it up, And then I'm going to have something like this. All right, so this is what the top looks like after sharing. So what I'm going to do is to bring them together and stitch them by the sides. Okay? This is what I have, and the top as well. I also went ahead to weave the sides. Okay, so, and the strap, this is the strap. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to be fixing the strap. So you can choose any side of your choice as the front and the back. I want to use this side as the front. So from the armhole, I'm going to mark down 3.5. Okay, you can fix yours as 4 or 5 inches depending on whatever you want. So I'm going to fix the strap from 3.5. Okay, so I'll pin it down. So after pinning the strap, I'll also pin the waistline of the top to the waistline of the skirt. Get the side line of the skirt and then pin it together with the side line of the top. So this is what I have. I'll go ahead now and join them together, okay, as well as fix the strap. All right, after joining the bodies to the skirt, this is what I have. I went ahead to weave the joining. Okay, so if I flip to the right, this is what I have. I have already body fitted my dress, and I noticed that the dress is not fitted at the waist area. Okay, because of that, I want to body fit the dress. If you don't want to body fit yours, you can wear yours that way, but for mine, I want to body fit the dress. If you intend to have a more fitted dress while drafting or cutting your bodice, mark your bust measurement plus 4 inches at the chest line, waist measurement plus 4 inches at the waistline, hip measurement plus 4 inches at the 3 inches below your waistline. I used my hip measurement to get the entire bodice. So if you're getting your bodice, mark your bust measurement plus 4 inches, your waist measurement plus 4 inches, and then here hip measurement plus 4 inches, so that you can get a good fit. So I'll come to this bust area and mark down 1 inch. Remember, this was my waistline, so I'll come to that waistline and mark 1.5. okay, and then carefully connect it because I want to body fit the dress. I'm going to go over to my sewing machine now and stitch on these markings. All right, so I have gone ahead to stitch on that markings that I made for the two sides. I had to use a different color of thread to stitch on it so that it can be visible to show you guys, and I think it made a lot of difference to the dress. So let me flip to the right side. So this is what I have now, and now our dress is ready. Don't forget to click the subscribe button if you haven't already, and turn on your notification bell so that you will know whenever I upload a new video. And to my returning subscribers, thank you so much for always coming back. I truly appreciate you. See you in the next one.